Welcome back. So now we have the plugins and the browser extension. We get into really the very exciting part of this release, which is showing you how plugins could actually work with smart contract wallets, particularly how it works with the Vectis accounts. So now we have installed the Cronkitty plugin. Again, it's a wrapper around Croncat, and please do check them out and read the docs to understand more on how they do automation. We've actually prepared a dapp that allows you to use the browser extension and sort of go through step by step how this would work. So the dapp itself is a contract. So tic-tac-toe is a smart contract, and every account would have a game, and so you're not actually playing someone else. You're always one account maps to one game, and the odd numbers are represented here as crosses, and the even moves are represented as knots. And we'll bring you through how this sort of works like automatically, and what it would actually look like from your Vectis account's point of view. So we'll start the journey. This basically makes sure that you have downloaded the Vectis browser extension. So we did that already, so that's good. Is make sure that you have a Vectis account. So you've actually selected the Vectis account. So here we have the browser extension, and this is the one that we just created. So there we go, that's good. And because this dapp requires Cronkitty, we actually go ahead and check if your Vectis account has this plugin. If it doesn't, then you could just go back and install it. Great, so all of those 3 steps are set. Now we're ready to play. So here we're just creating a new game with our Vectis account. To dive into this a little bit more, the sender here it's a long address, so it's a smart contract address. This is your Vectis account, and then we're calling the tic-tac-toe address to basically create a new game, and that is all. Fantastic. So now the game has been created, we could go ahead and play. So just make the first move. Again, diving into a little bit of the data here, we are telling the tic-tac-toe that we're playing and at a certain position. That is, again, all that is. Now here is where it gets a little bit more exciting. So this is a message that we are asking the Vectis account to send. We are creating a task on Croncat, but via Cronkitty. Why are we doing this? Because we are not allowing Croncat to have sort of control over our Vectis account. So we're going through Cronkitty as a permission filter. Cronkitty basically checks every time that, oh, this someone who's calling me is Croncat, and that the task that is calling me is the task that I have set previously. So what is the task that Cronkitty is going to do? Cronkitty basically asks your Vectis account to do a play, and it's an empty position, because if it's empty, we do a pseudo random selecting a box thing on the smart contract, and it's playing, it's sending this, it's telling your Vectis account to send this message to the tic-tac-toe game. So from the tic-tac-toe game's point of view, it's coming from your Vectis account, just like the first move that you did. We can see here that we have this autofill, basically, rightly so, if whatever the task that you have set on Croncat is ran out of balance, they would then remove your task from blocking their task queue. We are basically asking Cronkitty to, every time someone calls you, go ahead and check that the task has X amount of balance, and if it doesn't, fill it up such that if it hits, you know, this is 1 stars, then that's it, like stop filling it up. And that is what we're doing here. Now this is it. We have set the task. This transaction table is going to pull all the transaction that basically has the word play in it. And every 5 blocks, Croncat agent are going to check. Well, they check all the time, but we have set that every 5 blocks, one of the Croncat agents should execute, and they just did here. So here there's the circle, which is the even, represented that, and we can see that in this is all the messages from your own Vectis account. So the plugin has actually executed a message. The message is play. So I'm gonna play this. Just to be clear that the tic-tac-toe game actually prevents the sort of the second player who, well, by that it's someone who doesn't provide a position, which is what we've tailored it to be from Croncat, from Cronkitty. So then every 5 blocks, Cronkitty is still trying to play, but because it's not their turn yet, they can't. So here again, Cronkitty has made another move on behalf of your own Vectis account. So now I, as a human, on behalf on my own Vectis account, is going to make this move. So that's great. Like, good to know that I could beat a basically deterministic counterpart. We are going to go through what actually happened in the transaction layer. Create new game, play, create game, play, refill, play, refill. So let's see what actually happened in the transaction level. So there are a bunch of refills. So let's go back to where we might actually find some useful information. So we started the new game, and then we played, and then this was the time when we asked you on the UI to create a task. So we did that, and then immediately after Croncat, which is Cronkitty, which is a plugin, they played, but then they also did a refill. So what does that mean is basically they looked at the task and the balance on Croncat, and they were like, okay, well, it's below the balance that was set when we created the task on Cronkitty. And so like, okay, what is the difference? It's 0.9 stars. So then it went ahead and actually refilled on Croncat. And then I played again, and then they played, and then I guess if we can go back here, and I played again, and this is where like the crosses won, and then after that, basically the game is ended, so the play execution doesn't happen anymore, and it basically fails. But just because that execution has failed doesn't mean that the agent who's calling the execution doesn't get repaid. They do, and so we continuously do this, and this is why we added this like refill cap, such that if it hits 1 stars, which is what we set in the previous in this UI, when it hits 1 star, then it will just stop refilling, and then it will just let it run out of balance on Cronkat's side. So this is really the bulk of this version, showing you basically the fine-grained type of permission that you can set with the plugins, and also like there are actually like nice benefits interacting with a dapp such as Croncat to have these specific plugins. They are hooks, allowing the user to have much more flexibility, and obviously adding automation is great. So thank you.